I will never forget the collective gasp that echoed through the courtroom the moment the video began playing on the large projection screen. There she was, Deborah Wilson, known to everyone in Oak Ridge Estates simply as Karen, her face twisted in fury as she screamed at my children from the edge of our own backyard. The footage was crystal clear. Her designer handbag flailed with each exaggerated gesture as she jabbed a manicured finger toward my terrified kids. Her voice climbed to that all-too-familiar screech we'd all come to recognize from social media clips. "Those bratty kids don't deserve to live in this neighborhood," she shouted. Then, in full view of the camera, she picked up a baseball bat from alongside our garden shed and began bashing our solar lights, one after the other. I glanced across at the plaintiff's table. Karen sat stiffly in a custom navy blue pantsuit, her face bleached of all color. Her defamation suit against me had taken a spectacular plunge, especially when the video revealed her threatening to report me to Child Protective Services, because a swing set she could barely see from her window was, in her words, bringing down property values. The judge's face had transformed from polite attention to one of pure revulsion. When the video ended, Karen clutched her chest dramatically and collapsed forward onto the table, then slumped onto the floor. Her attorney collapsed alongside her in a panic as murmurs filled the room. The judge pounded for order. A court officer checked her pulse. Karen's eyes opened moments later, and she sat up unsteadily, her perfectly coiffed bob now mussed. "It was edited," she cried. "That's not me. They tampered with that film." Her voice cracked in hysteria as her wild eyes scoured the room, hoping someone, anyone, would listen to her. The judge was unmoved. His gavel came down 3 times. "Mrs. Wilson, calm down or I'll have you removed." And that's when she made her final mistake. "This is a conspiracy," she screamed, finger accusingly pointing at me. "He's trying to destroy me because I enforce the rules. He's a monster. Just look at him smirking." The judge nodded to the bailiffs. "Mrs. Wilson, you are now in contempt of court." It all started 6 months earlier when my family had relocated to Oak Ridge Estates, a pristine suburb with manicured lawns and a notoriously feisty HOA. I'm an architectural engineer. My wife is a pediatrician. We have 2 kids, Emma, 8, and Noah, 6. We'd worked hard for this home, choosing the neighborhood for the schools and safety. However, the friendly reception came in the form of a 6-page list of potential violations, signed by HOA President Deborah Wilson. I read it cover to cover. When I built a small wooden playset for my kid's birthday, I double-checked the bylaws. It was compliant, out of sight from the street, constructed of natural stained wood, so it would be camouflaged in the backyard. 3 days later, our front door had a hot pink violation notice taped to it. Unauthorized structure detected. Remove within 48 hours or face $100 daily fines. Signed, Deborah Wilson, HOA President, with a smiley face sticker. I called the number provided. Karen answered. "It's within regulation," I said calmly. "It's not visible from the street, and there's no clause against playsets." She laughed. "I can see it from my 2nd-story window. That makes it visible. That makes it a violation. Your window isn't in the bylaws." "I am the HOA president," she responded smugly. "I decide what's unsightly." So began 2 months of relentless harassment. Karen would park her high-end SUV across from our house each day, snapping photos. We received notices of violation for everything. Some slightly long grass, a bike temporarily left on the porch, the wrong white on our trim. I even caught her once measuring the distance of our mailbox from the curb with a measuring tape. When we refused to remove the playset, she escalated further, publicly confronting my wife, telling my children their father was a bad man. At an HOA meeting, she proposed a new bylaw forbidding recreational equipment over 4 feet tall, specifically targeting us. The last straw came on a quiet Saturday morning. I was making pancakes when I heard Emma screaming. I ran outside. Karen was in our backyard, garden shears in hand, slicing through the ropes of the swing. Noah was shaking under the slide. "What the heck are you doing?" I shouted. "This eyesore is reducing property values," she shouted back, waving the shears. Then, unbelievably, she grabbed a bat and started smashing solar lights and flower pots. She yelled insults about my parenting, my job, and even threatened to call CPS to rescue my children. What Karen did not know was that I had installed high-definition security cameras a week prior. I called 911. "There's a trespasser on my property threatening my family and destroying our property," I told the dispatcher. Karen stopped dead in her tracks at the mention of police. Then, with one last kick at the broken lights, she stormed off screaming, "This isn't over! The HOA will take your house." The police arrived within minutes. They were visibly disturbed by the video. One even called it a textbook case of trespassing, vandalism, and menacing. I requested a restraining order and sent the video to the HOA board. I did not expect it would go viral. Within 2 days, Backyard Karen Loses It Over Playset had garnered over 2 million views. It was scooped up by local news. Then national news. Outrage poured in. Karen's employer placed her on leave. The HOA board suspended her. Neighbors I barely knew stopped by with baked goods and words of encouragement. Many had their own Karen stories to share. I said nothing the entire time. I turned down interviews. I discouraged gossip. "This isn't revenge," I told all of them. "It's defending my family." Karen went in the opposite direction. She sued me for defamation, claiming I'd edited the video. She wanted $500,000 for emotional distress and lost income. Which brings us back to court. After Karen's courtroom meltdown and dramatic fainting episode, the judge called court back to order. He got straight to the point. "There is no video tampering," he stated. The plaintiff's own expert confirmed the footage as authentic. This lawsuit is dismissed, with prejudice. Then he dropped the boom. "Mrs. Wilson, this court is going to report you to the district attorney for indictment on charges of perjury, false claims, trespass, vandalism, and threatening minors. You will also pay the defendant's court costs." The bailiff stepped forward. Karen shrieked, "You can't do this. I've been HOA president for 7 years." "You have the right to remain silent," one officer replied calmly as the handcuffs clicked shut. Karen sobbed as she was led away. Later that day, the district attorney filed formal charges. If convicted on all counts, she faced up to 2 years in prison and over $10,000 in fines. That night, the HOA board voted unanimously to dissolve the old regime and bring in a more democratic structure. Karen's husband put their house up for sale the next morning. And me? I stood on the porch as the sun set below the horizon line, listening while Emma and Noah played joyfully on the very swing set that started it all. Their laughter echoed across the lawn, pure, unfettered. Sometimes justice doesn't need a gavel. Other times, it arrives with children's laughter and a sunset softly descending on a backyard swing.